I've had a lovely day watching boxing, watching all the big fights and studying all the heavyweights. And I've got to say, that big Joe Joyce is the second best heavyweight in the world, behind myself. And on his day, given his moment, who knows if he could beat me or not. I think we'll have to find out one of the days. But just looked at these prospects, these mandatories for the world titles, Zangs and Urkoviches and everybody else. I've changed my mind, and I think Big Joe Joyce is number 2 heavyweight in the world. And who knows if he's number 1. One day we'll have to find out who's better out of me and him. But at the moment, I'm rolling the roost because I'm world heavyweight champion and he's not. But he's fucking coming for everybody. Don't you worry about that. Come on, Big Joe! Ah!
Now, clearly, Tyson Fury has been called out by Joe Joyce. As you see at the bottom of the screen, it says, "Let's go sign the contract, big boy." The Juggernaut, I don't know, number 1 versus number 2 for the lineal. This is his response to what Tyson Fury had put out earlier. I mean, after all, you just called the man the number 2 heavyweight in the world. So Fury's response is, "Not tour time, Big Joe. I have to win undisputed first versus the middleweight. You also have to build yourself up to the big times." Now, if he's the number 2 heavyweight in the world, and considering who all he has fought so far, I think it's safe to say Joe Joyce is ready for that top 5 spotlight. And when I say top 5, I mean he's up there. You clearly at this point he's up there with the Wilders, the AJs, the Ruizes, guys like that who has fought at this point on the biggest stage. That's the only thing really left for him to do. So who else really is there to fight for him? A Dillian White or somebody like that? Only thing he could do is fight somebody that's fought for the title or a former champion. But really, as he said, he didn't have to sit around and fight Joseph Parker. He actually could have waited for his Usyk, his Usyk fight, because he's lined up to fight Usyk as well. He's the WBO interim champion, so that fight could happen probably sooner than later. When it comes to the Fury fight, he probably could get that fight faster. Now, the only problem with that is I do believe Helenius might have the fast track over him because the way it was slotted when AJ had the belt. Because the IBF, the WBO, and the WBA all had mandatories sitting out there waiting on AJ. The IBF got theirs first. Then the WBO and the WBA still waiting. So Helenius, if I'm not mistaken, gets the first crack when it comes to the mandatories. But we'll have to see how that plays out. And that would explain why Usyk is saying he wants the winner of Wilder versus Helenius, because he knows that's the mandatory he got to get out of the way anyway, the winner of that fight. But let's say if Fury and Usyk decide they want to just go ahead and fight, which at this point it should go that way anyway, because if he's not going to fight AJ, nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to see him fight Mahmoud Charr, whatever he changed his name to. Nobody wants to see that fight. Nobody's calling for it. Nobody's asking for it. It's a garbage fight. Mahmoud Charr barely even fought over like the last 7 years. He only fought twice over the last 7 years, and really that's came in the last 2 years. He had the WBA belt held that hostage for 4.5 years because he never defended it. How you gonna have a belt and not defend it in 4 years? Nobody wants to see that fight. But as I said, if the WBC champion Tyson Fury was to take on the unified champion Usyk, that will allow some of these mandatories to get knocked off. Let Joe Joyce fight the winner of Wilder versus Helenius, or let Andy Ruiz fight the winner of Wilder versus Helenius, which the WBC already set that up, and or let Helenius and Wilder fight, and Joe Joyce and Andy Ruiz fight. However, to get some of these dudes out of the way, because one thing we will say, at some point we got to get undisputed out the way. We got to. And when that happens, you don't want it to be taken from somebody because you got mandatories fighting over each other. And one sanctioned body decides to strip the champion because he really doesn't have time to fight 3 mandatories back to back to back to back within like a crazy, I don't know, 9 months, 6 months period. Because that's what AJ was facing. A lot of people don't understand that. AJ was supposed to have gotten stripped of at least one of those titles. But he lucky they worked with him. But anyway, but I do find it interesting that Fury called Usyk that, but that Fury called Joe Joyce that. But I believe Joe Joyce would like to get Usyk first anyway. He's closer to getting that shot anyway. Plus, they have a little bit of history. Usyk beat Joe Joyce in the WBS or WSB, whatever you want to call it, back in the day. And if you don't know what that is, that was sort of like a pro amateur hybrid. So the fights didn't count. That I don't think they were considered amateurs anymore, but it was some sort of, it was weird, but it didn't count. I'll put it that way. So if you're looking to find Usyk on Joe Joyce's record or vice versa, you're not going to find it. But the fight was very interesting. Joe Joyce, he gave as well as he got, but Usyk did outbox him. And it might be the same today, maybe not. We'll have to see. But that's pretty much all I got. This head busting boxes on Fight Doctor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Is Joe Joyce the second best heavyweight in the world? Maybe. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've heard worse things, but I know a lot of people gonna say, "Man, that dude's slow. He timed his punches, his winging shots, and whatever your gripe is on Joe Joyce. You gotta admit, he done whooped everybody they done put in the ring with him. Now, some people might say Parker and some of these other dudes, Jennings, really wasn't that good anyway, but I do think Daniel Dubois is the goods. And he made them quit, so it is what it is. But that's pretty much all I got. This here busting boxes on Fight Doctor. I am out.